Imagine a bird, not a majestic eagle or, a massive ostrich. I want you to picture something really tiny. I'm talking about a creature that fits comfortably in the palm of your hand. It weighs as little as 15 grams.
And just to put that in perspective for everyone listening, 15 grams is, it's roughly the weight of a single tablespoon of sugar.
A tablespoon of sugar.
Or maybe 3 sheets of paper. I mean, it is incredibly fragile.
Exactly. A tablespoon of sugar with wings. Now imagine this tiny, fragile creature flying 8,000 kilometers.
8,000? That's an incredible number.
It really is. It's not taking a train, not hopping on a plane, flying. Battling crosswind storms and predators, all the way from the freezing Arctic Circle, the top of the world, down to the warm plains of India.
Wow.
Why on earth would it do that? What drives a 15-gram bird to undertake a journey that would exhaust a human being in a jet plane?
It sounds like a suicide mission, doesn't it? But that is the reality of the little stint. It's just one of the many migratory miracles we see in the Indian subcontinent.
Miracle, yeah.
And it tells you something profound about how connected our geography is to the rest of the world. India isn't some isolated landmass. It's a winter home for the Arctic's residents.
That is a beautiful way to put it. And, okay, here's another riddle for you to chew on.
Go for it.
Why is it that when the entire country of India is drying off after the rains in October and November, when Delhi is getting dusty, Punjab is cooling down, and the humidity is dropping?
Right, when everyone's packing away their umbrellas.
Exactly. Why is the state of Tamil Nadu just getting started with its rainy season? What is going on with the wind there? Why is the southeast coast partying with raincoats while the rest of us packing them away?
That is the riddle of the retreating monsoon. And let me tell you, if you get that wrong in the exam hall, you lose marks. Simple as that. It's a classic trap.
It's a huge trap, exactly. Welcome to a very special extended edition of the Deep Dive. Today, we aren't just reading a geography book. We are unlocking the code to one of the toughest exams in the world.
We are. This is Simplified UPSC by PPP.
And we are taking a sledgehammer to the complexity of Indian climate, wildlife, and vegetation.
We're focusing on the foundational bedrock today. We're looking at NCERT Class 6 Geography, specifically Chapter 8.
Now, I know what some of you are thinking. I can almost hear the skepticism through the headphones. Class 6. Seriously, I'm an adult. I have a degree. I'm preparing for the civil services, the most prestigious job in the country. Why am I reading a book written for an 11-year-old?
And that mindset, that arrogance, if I can be blunt, is exactly why people fail.
I was just about to say that.
The basics are the basics for a reason. If you cannot explain the mechanism of the monsoon simply, using the vocabulary found in this book, you cannot write a complex answer about climate change in the mains exam. You just can't. You can't build a skyscraper if your foundation is made of sand.
Precisely. We are going back to basics to build that skyscraper. But before we dive into the jungles and the rain clouds, I have a very specific mission for you today. If you want to retain this information, if you want these facts to stick in your brain when you're sitting in that exam hall under high pressure, you need to subscribe to the Simplified UPSC by PPP YouTube channel right now. We are building something massive here, a repository of knowledge that cuts through the noise.
Retention is absolutely key. Listening is passive, engaging is active, and building a community really helps with that. We want you in the loop so you never miss a beat.
Absolutely. And I want to make a humble request. We put a lot of work into dissecting these sources. If you are capable, and if you find value in what we are doing here, analyzing these texts, so you don't have to struggle alone, please consider supporting the show on Patreon.
It really is your support that keeps this content coming.
It is. And a massive, warm, and heartfelt shout out to all our current supporters. You guys are the wind beneath our wings. Literally, you are the monsoon that feeds our crops.
And please, do not forget to like the video and share your comments. We read them. We really do. We analyze them. They help us understand what you need to crack this exam. If you're struggling with a concept, tell us in the comments.
One last housekeeping note before we start the engine. Free notes with practice past year questions, we call them PYQs, are available right now on our public Telegram channel. Go grab them. They're free.
They are.
But if you are a serious learner and you want the premium experience, I'm talking about accessing all videos of this series at once, organized premium notes, detailed explanations, extra PYQs, and model mains answers, you need to join the private Telegram library.
It's the difference between having a paper map and having a GPS system. Just DM us on the public Telegram channel to get access to that private library. It's a gold mine for the serious aspirant.
Okay, Mission Control, are we ready to launch?
We are ready. Let's do that.
Our source material today is deceptively simple. It's Chapter 8 of the Class 6 NCERT, India, Climate, Vegetation, and Wildlife. But we are pairing it with a stack of heavy hitters UPSC past year. Questions ranging from 2013 all the way to the 2025 mains paper. We're going to see how a sentence in a kid's book translates into a question that stumps thousands of graduates.
And that is the deep dive difference, isn't it? We aren't just reciting facts. We are connecting dots. We're going to decode the rhythm of India's seasons, the layers of its forests, and the map of its wildlife.
Let's start with the basics, but let's make them interesting. Segment 1. Weather versus climate. I feel like people use these words interchangeably all the time in casual conversation.
All the time.
You heard in the elevator at the coffee shop, oh, the climate is nice today.
And that would be technically, scientifically incorrect. If you write that in an exam, the examiner knows immediately that you haven't grasped the fundamentals.
Right. It's a red flag.
It's a huge red flag. Let's look at the text. It makes a very sharp distinction. Weather is about day-to-day changes in the atmosphere. It's
Right.
volatile. It captures the chaos of the immediate moment.
The day-to-day.
Exactly. It includes changes in temperature, rainfall, and sunshine within a 24-hour cycle.
So let's play this out. If I wake up in the morning and it's sunny, but by lunch, dark clouds roll in and it's raining, and then by dinner, the rain stops and it becomes windy and cold, that whole roller coaster, that's the weather.
Precisely. The text gives a great example that everyone can relate to. You might need warm clothes one day and a cold drink the next day. It's short term, it's the now.
Okay, so that's weather. What about climate?
Now, contrast that with climate. Climate is the average weather condition, but the key phrase here, the one you need to underline in your mind, is measured over many years.
We're talking decades, right? Not just a few years.
Yes, usually a minimum of 30 to 35 years. It's the statistical average. It's the long-term pattern.
I like the analogy that weather is your mood,
Mhm.
which changes every hour based on whether you've had your coffee or if you hit traffic or if you got a nice text message.
That's a great way to put it.
But climate is your personality. Your personality is generally consistent over a lifetime. You might have an angry moment, that's the weather, but you are a generally calm person, that's the climate.
That is a perfect way to visualize it. And India's personality, or climate, is broadly described as monsoon type.
Monsoon. That word just sounds heavy, doesn't it? It feels ancient. The text says it comes from the Arabic word masim.
Yes, mausim, which literally means seasons. And this highlights the deep historical connection between trade and the winds.
Oh, that's interesting.
We often forget that geography dictated history. Before steam engines, before diesel, sailors from the Middle East couldn't just turn on a propeller. They were at the mercy of the wind.
Of course.
They depended on these winds to travel between the Middle East and India. They waited for the mausim, the season, to push them across the Arabian Sea.
So the trade routes, the spices, the cultural exchange, it all depended on this wind pattern. They were literally waiting for the season to change.
Exactly. But for the exam, you need to understand the why. Why is India a monsoon-type climate? Why don't we have, say, a Mediterranean climate or a British climate?
It's all about the address, right? Location, location, location.
Correct. The text gives us the specific coordinates, and we need to pay attention to them. India's is in the northern hemisphere. The mainland extends from 8 degrees 4 foot N to 37 degrees 6 phi N latitudes. But the most critical line mentioned is the Tropic of Cancer, which is at 23 degrees 30 NN.
And that line cuts almost halfway through the country. It passes through states like Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal.
It does, and this is vital. It means the southern half of India sits in the tropical zone, which is between the equator and the Tropic of Cancer. The northern half is in the subtropical zone.
Okay.
This specific location creates a heat engine that drives the monsoon. The sun beats down on this tropical landmass, heating it up, creating low pressure.
And don't forget the longitudinal extent from roughly 68 degrees E to 97 degrees E. That's a span of about 29 degrees. It's quite a lot.
It is a lot. And that explains why there is a time difference. The sun rises in Arunachal Pradesh almost 2 hours before it rises in Gujarat. The text mentions that local time can vary significantly from the east to the west. If you didn't have a standard meridian, you'd have chaos with train schedules.
Total chaos.
Yeah.
Exactly. But going back to the monsoon, why is it so critical? The source material asks a terrifying question, one that economists actually model. What happens if the monsoon fails?
It's a question that keeps the Finance Ministry and the Reserve Bank of India awake at night.
I bet.
The text puts it simply. Agriculture in India is dependent on rains. Even today, with all our dams and canals, a huge percentage of our farming is rain-fed. Good monsoons mean a bountiful crop, but if they fail...
It's a domino effect, isn't it? A complete chain reaction.
Absolutely. Crops are affected, which means food prices go up, inflation rises, the water level in wells goes down. The text explicitly links the climate to the groundwater table. If the recharge doesn't happen, the wells run dry. And the summer feels much, much longer because there is no cloud cover to block the sun. It's relentless.
It's the lifeline of the economy. It's not just rain, it's GDP falling from the sky. Now let's break down how this water actually gets here. The NCERT lists 4 major seasons. Let's walk through them because there are some hidden gems here that usually get glossed over.
Right. We have the cold weather season, which is winter, hot weather season, summer, then the southwest monsoon season, which is the main rainy season, and finally the season of retreating monsoon, or autumn.
Let's start with winter, December to February. Why does it get cold? I mean, I know that sounds like a dumb question. It's winter, duh.
Wow.
But scientifically, why does northern India freeze while the south stays pleasant?
It's a great question, and it's all about the angle of the sun. The text explains that during this time, the sun's rays do not fall directly in the region.
Not directly.
Because of the tilt of the Earth, the northern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun. The rays are slanted. Think of a flashlight hitting a wall at an angle.
Okay, I'm picturing it. If I point the flashlight straight at the wall, the circle of light is small and bright. It's intense.
Correct. But if you tilt the flashlight, the light spreads out into a long oval. It covers more area, but it's dimmer. It's less intense.
Ah, I see.
That is what happens to sunlight in winter. The slanted rays spread their heat over a larger area, making it less intense. Result: low temperatures, especially in northern India.
And notice we specify northern India.
Yes. The south remains relatively warm because it's closer to the equator, and crucially, it is a peninsula surrounded by the ocean. The ocean acts like a giant temperature regulator. It moderates the temperature, keeping it from getting too cold.
Okay, so then fast forward. The Earth orbits, the tilt changes relative to the sun. March through May, summer hits.
And the physics flips. Now, the sun's rays fall more or less directly on the region. The flashlight is pointing straight down. The heat mounts.
It really does.
And here, the text introduces a specific term that you must know, the loo.
The loo. I can feel that word. It sounds hot. It describes those hot, dry winds that blow during the day.
It's a classic vocabulary term for the UPSC. If you see loo, you know we're talking about the dry summer heat of the North Indian plains, Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, UP, Bihar. It's not just it's hot. It's a specific meteorological phenomenon where the humidity drops drastically and the temperature spikes, sometimes touching 45 or 48 degrees Celsius.
It's dangerous heat. But the text also adds a nice cultural touch here to combat the loo. It brings in the human element.
Yes. It mentions sharbat, made from raw mango, which is aham panna or bell or lemon, and buttermilk chach matha. It's interesting how the NCERT integrates diet with climate.
It shows adaptation.
Exactly. It shows adaptation. We drink these things not just because they taste good, but because they provide electrolytes and cooling during the loo. It's indigenous knowledge passed down to survive the climate.
It's survival science disguised as a tasty drink. But now let's move to the main event, the blockbuster season, June to September, the southwest monsoon.
This is when the relief comes. But the big question is, how does it work?
Yeah, how does the switch flip? 1 minute it's the loo, the next it's pouring rain.
The mechanism is described clearly in the text. The winds blow from the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal towards the land. Note the direction. Sea to land.
So they're picking up moisture from the ocean, just soaking it up.
Tons of it. Imagine them as giant conveyor belts of water vapor. They travel thousands of kilometers over the warm ocean, soaking up water like a sponge, and they carry this moisture until they strike a barrier.
A barrier, like a wall.
Yes, specifically mountain barriers like the Western Ghats along the west coast or the Himalayas in the north. When these moisture-laden winds hit the mountains, they can't go through them. They are forced to rise.
But as they rise, what happens then?
Basic physics. As air rises, it cools. And cold air can't hold as much moisture as warm air. So the water vapor condenses into droplets, forms clouds, and boom, rainfall. This is called orographic rainfall.
This brings us to our first major connection to the UPSC past year questions. I'm looking at the 2014 preliminary exam. There was a question about The seasonal reversal of winds.
Yes. Question 43 in the 2014 paper, it asks, the seasonal reversal of winds is the typical characteristic of, and it gives options like equatorial climate, Mediterranean climate, monsoon climate.
And based on what we just read,
It's the monsoon climate. It couldn't be clearer. The text describes the winds blowing sea to land in summer, and then, as we'll see in a second, land to sea in autumn. That U-turn, that reversal, is the definition of a monsoon.
so reading this simple chapter gives you the direct answer to that preliminary question.
It does. You don't need a PhD in climatology. You need to read Class 6 carefully.
That is satisfying. It proves that the answers are often hiding in plain sight. So let's talk about that reversal. We move into October and November, the season of retreating monsoon.
This is the part that tricks a lot of students. The winds start moving back from the mainland to the Bay of Bengal.
So land to sea, dry winds, right?
Mostly, yes. For most of India, places like Punjab, Haryana, UP, the rains are over, the sky clears up, the soil is still moist, so it gets humid, what we call October heat, but the rain stops.
Okay, but
However, and here's where it gets really interesting moment. This is actually the rainy season for the southern parts of India.
specifically Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh.
Correct. The text explicitly states that Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh receive rainfall in this season.
Why? Why does Chennai get wet when Delhi gets dry? Explain the physics of that. I think this is where people get confused.
Think about the geometry and the map of India. The winds are blowing from the land, let's say from central India towards the Bay of Bengal. So initially, as they leave the land, they are dry. They have no moisture left.
Okay, following you so far.
But then they travel over the Bay of Bengal. As they cross this large body of warm water, they pick up moisture again from the ocean surface. They recharge.
They recharge it like that.
Then, because of the Coriolis force and the shape of the coast, they curve and hit the coast of Tamil Nadu.
Ah, so they are dry when they leave the north. They get wet over the Bay of Bengal, and then they smack right into Chennai and the Coromandel coast.
Exactly. So they dump that new moisture right on the southeast coast. That is why Chennai has its floods in November and December, while the rest of India is dry.
That is a crucial distinction. If you assume monsoon means rain everywhere at the same time, you will get the question wrong.
Absolutely. The retreating monsoon is a specific rainy season for the southeast coast. And that specificity is what gets tested.
Now let's zoom out a bit. We talked about the broad seasons, but India is huge. The climate isn't the same everywhere. This brings us to segment 3, regional variations.
Right, the Y factor. The text lists the variables that affect the climate of any place: location, altitude, distance from the sea, and relief.
Relief, meaning the shape of the land, like mountains and plateaus.
Exactly. And the text gives us a spectrum of extremes. I love these contrasts because they show just how diverse the subcontinent is. It's like 5 different countries wrapped into one.
It really is. Let's run through them. For heat, we have Jaisalmer and Bikaner in the Rajasthan desert.
Scorching. I mean, you can literally fry an egg on the carb on it there. The temperature variation between day and night is also extreme. Hot days, cold nights.
And for cold,
For cold, we have Dras and Kargil in the Ladakh region.
freezing, below zero. People survived in temperatures that would turn water to stone. It's a completely different kind of resilience.
Then you have the coastal moderation, Mumbai and Kolkata. The text says they are neither too hot nor too cold.
But they're very humid. Is that sticky heat. You sweat, and it just doesn't evaporate.
Exactly. The humidity is high because of the proximity to the sea. The sea breeze moderates the temperature range, so it never gets to 45 degrees like Delhi, but it never drops to 5 degrees either. It stays in a narrow, humid band.
And then rainfall. The wettest place on Earth.
The world record holder, Mawsynram in Meghalaya, the highest rainfall in the world. We are talking about 11,000 millimeters of rain a year.
That is just mind-boggling. I can't even picture what that much rain looks like. And then contrast that with Jaisalmer again.
Which might see no rain at all in a given year. Maybe 10 centimeters if they're lucky. From 11,000 millimeters to maybe 100 millimeters. It's unbelievable.
I want to link this to a 2015 UPSC question. That's question 80 in that paper. It describes a region. Each day is more or less the same. The morning is clear and bright. Sun climbs high. Dark clouds form. Then rain comes with thunder and lightning.
And the options were things like savanna, equatorial, monsoon.
Now, based on what we just discussed in Chapter 8, We know India has distinct seasons. We have a hot season, a cold season, a rainy season.
Exactly. The description in that 2015 question, each day is the same, is the opposite of the Indian monsoon climate.
It's the polar opposite.
In India, days change with the seasons. We wait months for the rain. In the description, it rains every afternoon like clockwork. That question was describing the equatorial climate like you'd find in the Congo or Amazon.
So by understanding what India is, which is seasonal, varied, rhythmic, you can identify what it is not.
And this is how you use basic texts to solve complex elimination questions. This is a pro tip. You don't always need to know the right answer. Sometimes knowing why the other answers are wrong is enough.
That's a superpower in the prelims.
It is. You look at the option and say, well, India doesn't have rain every afternoon, so it can't be monsoon. Boom, one option eliminated.
Let's move from the sky to the ground. Segment 4. Natural vegetation. First off, definition time. What makes vegetation natural?
The text is very specific here. It refers to grasses, shrubs, and trees that grow on their own without interference or help from human beings.
So if you planted it, it's agriculture or gardening. If it grew itself, it's natural vegetation.
Correct.
So the Tulsi plant in my balcony is not natural vegetation, but the grass growing in the cracks of the sidewalk is.
Technically, yes.
Okay, got it. And the type of vegetation depends on the climate, specifically rainfall.
Primarily rainfall, yes.
The source material has this great diagram of a tropical rainforest. It visualizes the layers. I think visualizing this is key because forests aren't just a blob of green. They are like apartment buildings.
That's a fantastic analogy. Visualizing is key. So let's start from the bottom, the ground floor. You have the ground layer, then the shrubs layer, which goes up to about 1.5 to 5 meters.
Okay, the undergrowth.
Exactly. Then you have young trees at 20 meters. Above that, the main apartment block, the canopy at 40 meters. And finally, the penthouses, the emergent layer, reaching up to 60 meters.
That is a skyscraper of biology. 60 meters is huge. That's a 20-story building made of life.
It is. And notice the density. The text mentions that in these forests, sunlight doesn't even reach the ground. It's perpetual twilight down there. This creates a very specific ecosystem.
And why do we care about these forests? Apart from them being beautiful, the text lists the functions.
2 main categories, biological and practical. Biologically, they release oxygen and absorb carbon dioxide, the lungs of the planet argument. But structurally, the text makes a vital point that is often tested.
Which is?
The roots of the plants bind the soil.
Bind the soil. Let's unpack that. What does that actually mean?
Imagine the soil is just loose powder. If wind blows or water flows, it just washes away. But tree roots act like a net or a cage. They create a matrix that holds the dirt in place. This directly prevents soil erosion.
And here is the link to the 2014 preliminary exam again. Question 42 asks, in India, the problem of soil erosion is associated with which of the following? And one of the options is deforestation.
And the NCERT text validates this logic perfectly. If trees bind the soil, then cutting trees, which is deforestation, unbinds the soil, leading to erosion. It's a direct cause and effect relationship found right here in Chapter 8.
So the exam isn't asking for rocket science. It's asking for basic ecological logic that you learn when you're 11.
Precisely. And practically, the text lists a whole shopping list of forest products.
It does. Timber for furniture, fuel wood, fodder for animals, medicinal plants, herbs, lac, honey, gum. It highlights the economic dependency we have on these ecosystems. We aren't just observing nature, we are consuming it.
Which is a very important point, and it leads us nicely into the inhabitants of these forests. Segment 5, wildlife.
Right.
India's wildlife diversity is just staggering. It's a biological treasure trove.
Let's do a quick roll call of the national symbols mentioned in the text.
The tiger is a national animal. The peacock is the national bird. And these aren't just symbols. They are apex species in their environments. They are indicators of a healthy ecosystem.
But the text also does something very important. It maps specific animals to specific regions. This is match the following gold for exams.
It is. You cannot just know the animals. You must know their zip codes. Let's map them out. Asiatic lions.
Gir Forest, Gujarat. That's the one everyone knows.
And the text notes that Gir is the home of Asiatic lions. It implies exclusivity. You don't find them wild anywhere else in India, or indeed anywhere else in Asia. They are a relic population.
Wow. Okay, elephants.
Kerala, Karnataka, and Assam. Notice the spread south and northeast. These are wet, forested regions with a lot of food for them.
One-horned rhinoceros.
Assam. Specifically, the marshy floodplains of the Brahmaputra. They love the tall grass and water. That's their ideal habitat.
Camels.
The Great Indian Desert, the Thar, Obviously, they're perfectly adapted to dry conditions. Long legs to keep away from hot sand, humps for storing fat.
Wild ass.
The Rann of Kutch. It's a harsh, salty environment, but they thrive there. It's a unique ecosystem.
And the Himalayan region. The high-altitude specialists.
Wild goats, snow leopards, bears, animals built for cold and altitude. Thick fur, sure-footed, masters of the mountains.
This mapping is crucial. Let's look at the 2013 preliminary paper. Question 7, it asks, which of the above are naturally found in India? The list included star tortoise, monitor lizard, pygmy hog, and spider monkey.
Now, the spider monkey is the trick
You
there.
found one out.
Exactly. While the Class 6 text doesn't list the spider monkey, it trains you to think about habitats. You read about the snow leopard in the Himalayas, the lion in Gujarat. You start building a mental map of Asian wildlife. When you study higher-level texts, you'll learn that spider monkeys are South American. They live in the Amazon. But the foundation of animals have specific addresses starts here. If you know the basic Indian biomes, you can smell a rat or a spider monkey when it doesn't belong.
It's about developing an instinct. Wait, a monkey named Spider implies New World monkeys, or simply knowing that Indian monkeys are macaques and langurs.
Exactly. And look at the 2019 paper, question 29. It asks to match wildlife to locations. Blue-finned mahseer to the Kaveri River, Irrawaddy dolphin to the Chambal River, rusty spotted cat to the Eastern Ghats.
That sounds tough. I mean, that's very specific.
It is tough, but it is an advanced version of what we are doing in Chapter 8. The NCERT teaches you the logic. Lion, extor, the UPSC exam asks. Dolphin, Chambal. The skill is the same, biogeography. You are matching the species to the environment. The difficulty level goes up, but the game remains the same. You need to know which river flows where and what lives in it.
Speaking of species, let's go back to my favorite fact of the day, the birds.
The text mentions common birds, parrots, pigeons, myna, bulbuls. But the migratory birds are the stars here. Pin-tailed duck, curlews, flamingo, osprey.
And the little stint.
The text explicitly highlights it. It weighs 15 grams. It travels 8,000 kilometers from the Arctic to India.
Why does it do that? Why fly that far? It seems like an insane amount of effort for such a small creature.
To escape the harsh Arctic winter. When the Arctic freezes over, there is no food, no insects, no access to water. India offers a warmer feeding ground. It's a matter of survival.
So it shows the global connectivity of our ecosystem.
Absolutely. A change in the temperature in the Arctic affects the bird population in a wetland in India.
That is a profound thought. We are not an island. Our biodiversity is borrowed from other parts of the world for half the year. If the Arctic melts or changes, our bird sanctuaries in India go empty.
Precisely. And the text also gives a quick mention of reptiles.
It does.
Yes, hundreds of species of snakes. Cobras and kraits are specifically named as important, probably because they are venomous and well-known.
Okay, so we have this amazing biodiversity. We have forests that bind soil. We have rains that feed the economy. But segment 6 is the reality check. Conservation and human impact. The text doesn't sugarcoat it.
No, it doesn't. It says, wildlife of India is declining rapidly. Many species are already extinct. The cause? Reckless cutting of trees and hunting. We are destroying the very home that these animals need.
But it also lists the solutions, the government measures.
National parks, sanctuaries, biosphere reserves. And it specifically mentions Project Tiger and Project Elephant.
These are huge flagship programs. They get a lot of funding and attention.
They are. And this connects to the 2015 PYQ about BirdLife International and biodiversity hotspots. Why do we have international organizations in hotspots? Because, as the insert says, habitats are being destroyed. The concept of a protected area is introduced right here. We draw a line on a map and say, nature is safe here.
The text also talks about community participation. I love this part. It mentions Van Mahotsav.
Forest Festival, a program to involve people in making the earth green. It's about shifting the mindset from consumption to stewardship. It implies that the government can't do it alone. Citizens must plant trees too.
And Wildlife Week.
Observed in the first week of October. The goal is awareness. To get people, especially children, to care about the animals around them.
And there is a call to duty for the citizen. It says we should refuse to buy things made from animal parts, bones, horns, fur, skins, feathers.
This is actually very relevant to the 2019 PYQ about microbeads and environmental concerns.
How so?
It's about consumer habits, whether it's buying ivory, which kills elephants, or using plastic microbeads in face wash, which kills fish. The theme is the same. Human consumption impacts nature. The exam tests your awareness of this impact. It asks, do you know the cost of what you buy?
That's a powerful connection. Let's move to segment 7. The Simplified UPSC So What? We've covered a lot of ground, but I want to synthesize this. Why is a grown adult preparing for a civil services career reading a book written for an 11-year-old?
Because the 11-year-old's book provides the framework. Think about it. 1, vocabulary. You can't understand a complex monsoon question if you don't know what the lu is or what retreating monsoon means. These are the technical terms of the trade.
They're the building blocks.
Exactly. 2, map work. You can't answer questions about wildlife sanctuaries if you don't know where the Gur Forest or the Rann of Kutch is. You need the mental pegboard to hang the facts on.
And 3.
3, logic. You can't understand soil erosion policies if you don't grasp the basic biological function of tree roots binding the soil. It's the foundational logic of the ecosystem.
It's the skeleton.
Yeah.
Everything else you learn in higher classes, in class 11, class 12, or in standard books like Kular or Majid Hussein, it's just adding muscle to the skeleton. If the skeleton is missing, the muscle has nowhere to attach. You just end up with a pile of facts that don't make sense.
Exactly. Look at the 2013 question about pollutants in drinking water, arsenic and fluoride. While Chapter 8 doesn't list arsenic, it teaches you to look at the relationship between environment and health. Or look at the 2014 question about wetlands harik, Keoladeo, Kolaru. This is just an extension of mapping the bird sanctuaries mentioned in the text. The habit of mapping starts in class 6.
And frankly, sometimes the questions are just direct. Caesar reversal of winds is a phrase you might overthink if you read a PhD thesis, but if you read NCERT, you just say, oh, that's the monsoon.
Keep it simple. That is often the best strategy. The UPSC loves to test if you have your feet on the ground. They don't want academics. They want generalists who understand the land.
We are coming to the end of our dive. Let's head to the outro. We have traveled from the snowy peaks where the sun rays slant down to the hot deserts of Rajasthan where the lu blows.
It's quite a journey.
We've seen the rain clouds hit the western Ghats and then turn around to soak Tamil Nadu in the winter. We've held a 15-gram bird in our imagination and stood next to an Asiatic lion in Gujarat.
It is a vibrant, dynamic picture of a country defined by its climate. It shows us that India isn't just a political map, it's a living, breathing, climatic organism.
And I want to leave you with a provocative thought. We looked at the 2025 General Studies Paper 1 in our source stack. Question 4 asks, how are climate change and sea level rise affecting the very existence of many island nations?
This is a crucial link. In Chapter 8, we read about the moderate climate of Mumbai and Kolkata. Why is it moderate? Because of the sea. Because the coastline is stable.
But what if the sea level rises? What if the ocean warms up?
Then that moderating influence changes. The coastline changes. The monsoons, which depend on the temperature difference between land and sea, might become erratic. We might see stronger storms, unpredictable rains.
So reading Chapter 8 today is like looking at a snapshot of the 20th century. The question is, will Chapter 8 look the same 50 years from now? Will the retreating monsoon still rain on Tamil Nadu, or will it shift? Will the 15-gram little stint still have an Arctic to fly from, or a wetland in India to fly to?
That is the reality of the changing world. And that is why you aren't just memorizing facts, you are learning systems. Because the systems are changing. The exam wants administrators who understand the system so they can manage the change. You are the future custodians of this geography.
Heavy stuff. But that is why we study, to understand and hopefully to manage. All right, listeners, that is a wrap on our deep dive into NCERT Class 6 Geography. If you found value in this, please support Simplified UPSC by PPP.
It really helps. Click subscribe, like the video. It tells the algorithm that this content matters. It helps us find other serious learners like you.
And do not forget the Telegram channels, the public channel. Free notes, practice PYQs. Go get them. They're waiting for you.
And the private library.
Yes, the private library. If you're serious, DM us on the public channel. Join the library. Get the premium notes, the model answers, the full suite. It saves you time, and time is the one thing an aspirant never has enough of.
Also, a final massive thank you to our Patreon supporters. You make this possible. We appreciate every single one of you.
We really do. Keep learning, keep questioning, and remember, even a 15-gram bird can travel across the world. You could certainly crack this exam. See you in the next deep dive.